I'm stuck on a weight loss plateau. That is the statement we hear a lot, right, Adam?
We do.
Yeah. So that's Adam Gilbert. He's the founder of My Body Tutor. I'm Haley Pulley, head coach over here at My Body Tutor. And today we are going to unpack with you the 3 habits you're probably doing to keep yourself stuck on that weight loss plateau. And I know they suck. Don't worry. We're going to give you some solutions, some actionable things you can start doing right now, today, to get yourself down off that plateau and on down the road with weight loss. All right. So hang in there with us. There's going to be some valuable information you can use anytime you find yourself in a rut. Adam, let's get started. Habit 1. What are we doing to keep ourselves on the plateau?
Habit number 1 is eating until we're too full. We're just eating too much. And the way to think about it is, imagine you have a hunger scale. 1 is feeling ravenous. You can, anything, everything sounds good. 5 is feeling like stuffed, right? Like you feel like you can't move. Think about, after Thanksgiving, you feel tired, you feel lethargic, you promise yourself you're going to never eat again. That's a 5. We have 1 on the other end where we're starving, we're ravenous. The idea is to feel like a 3, satisfied and light. And the best way to get to that point is to focus on eating slowly. And the best way to eat slowly is to put your utensils down between bites of food and try taking sips of water between bites of food. I like to imagine myself as a food critic. I want to, really appreciate the taste, the texture, the smell of the foods. Ideally, you want to savor the flavor.
Right. So we're really talking a skill here, right? Which, listen, if you've been working on weight loss, chances are you've experienced this fullness scale, whether it was in these terms or not. So might just be time to dust it off and kind of refocus on that practice at mealtime, right?
Yeah, the beautiful part about weight loss and fitness, it is a skill, and skills are learnable, right? Like riding a bike. It's truly learnable. You have to practice. Of course, practice can be uncomfortable at times, but it is certainly a skill, and skills are learnable. And it's important to remember, even sometimes skills that seem obvious and common sense, they're not often common practice. So I challenge you to really try this. Try eating slowly. Try setting a timer for 20 minutes. And I know that seems crazy, but so often we're just shoveling food into our mouths and we don't even pay attention to what we're eating. And that's why we still feel hungry and we eat more than we need to. So try eating slower. Try taking sips of water between bites of food. Try putting your utensils down between bites of food, and really allow yourself to feel how you feel as you're eating, versus just eating and then suddenly you're like, oh my God, I just ate too much, right? That's what we're trying to avoid.
Right. Okay, cool. So we just kind of need to reinvigorate the eating process here by slowing down, paying more attention. That's something we can put into action right now, the next meal, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. So when we're slowing down, we're going to be able to address habit number 2, which is
logging your food. Really, as the old management guru, I think Peter Drucker said, what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets improved. And it's the same here. If we want to improve our eating, if we want to really see what's going on, we need to log our food. I think sometimes people think, oh, I don't want to log my food, but it's like, it's the only way to know what's actually going on. I often say our body never lies, and a food log never lies either, if we're careful about, actually writing down and recording what we're eating.
Right. Now, so you're talking about the actual food. We're not talking about scales, measuring cups, calories, that kind of thing, right?
No, just writing down what you ate. It doesn't have to be 2 ounces of this or, 170 calories of that. That's, we can go on a quick side tangent. I personally don't love counting calories because A, it doesn't change your relationship with food. B, it relies solely on willpower, which always fades. And C, it eventually makes you crazy. That's too much, right? That's too much measuring. I don't want you carrying, a measuring scale or worrying about if you go out to a restaurant, how many calories am I eating? That's just, no. But just be intentional about what you eat. And the best way to be intentional is to simply pause before you eat and really, and jot down what you're eating or take a picture of what you're eating.
Right. It's data collection, right? And I think, we've seen it a lot sometimes it's really surprising to realize, oh, there's all these little maybe tastes, bites, licks, some little grazing, crusts off our kids' sandwiches, goldfish off the floor, right? So some things we might not want to admit, but it's just data, right? Like we're getting these outcomes. We're not sure why it's happening. So we have to collect the data. And just like standing in curiosity of it, I think is really, really powerful and can actually help you make changes to change your outcomes, to get off the plateau.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been at this since 2007. You know more than anyone. I mean, how many times do people come to us and they say, I eat really well, I eat really healthy, but I can't seem to lose weight. I can't get out of a plateau. And I'm like, all right, just try our program. And when we see what they're doing on a daily basis and we see the, glaring opportunities for improvement, I mean, it's very clear why they're not losing weight. And then again, that's just because they're sharing what they eat. And of course, they're getting our feedback. But part of it starts with that intentionality of what you're eating and recording what you're doing.
Okay, good. So we've got habit 1 down. We've got habit 2 down. We know how we're going to address those. Habit 3 is probably the hardest one to address. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't really believe in plateaus. To me, a plateau is if you're ultra consistent for a few weeks and you're still not seeing results. In my experience, and again, I've been at this since 2007. This is my life's work. 99% of people, it's not a plateau. It's a lack of consistency. It truly is. Okay. It's a lack of consistency. The problem is, we want our results right now. We want them tomorrow. We want them yesterday, but it takes time and it takes being consistent. And ultimately, patience plus consistency is an unbeatable combination. But consistency is hard. It's challenging.
So, okay, let's break it down a little bit, because I feel like sometimes consistency is kind of this like intangible thing we talk about a lot. We throw it out there. You're being inconsistent. Let's work on consistency. What do you mean? Let's talk about what we mean when we say practice consistency.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, ultimately, I think it's about having a plan each day and following through for the most part, right? It does not mean never indulging. It does not mean never enjoying your favorite foods. That's part of a great consistent plan. I mean, in fact, enjoying your favorite foods enables consistency to happen. But for me, I would define it as each day you have this intention and you're following through with it. How would you define it?
Well, that's one way. I think there's a lot of points of consistency that we have to learn to balance. If we're just talking in terms of getting off this plateau, consistently practicing the fullness scale, or consistency, in logging your food. And if you're working with us, sharing it with your coach, showing up, being honest, how consistently can you do that? And I think the counterpoint to that we see a lot, right, is we'll see somebody doing those things consistently for maybe several days, a couple of weeks, and then they crash. So that, I think, is what you're pointing to in terms of like making sure you plan in and intentionally factor in those indulgences. And that allows for that consistency, right? So we don't like go all or nothing.
Right. Great point. I mean, again, it's really important that the plan you're trying to follow is one that you feel like you can follow for the rest of your life. Right? Because otherwise this is just a short-term thing, and by definition, then that's not going to be consistent. So it's really important that you feel like you can stick with the plan for life. If you're saying, I can't wait until this is over, or I can't wait to go back to my old ways, or just another few weeks, that's obviously not going to lead to consistency. So that certainly has to be a part of it.
Right. So sustainability and really making sure you're not feeling like you're white knuckling through your weeks, right? Like, I think that's a key sign that you're at risk for inconsistency.
Yeah, listen, we could write a book, and one day we will, and we've been at this for 2007. I keep saying that, but like, consistency is the tip of the iceberg. There's a million things we could talk about consistency in terms of why people aren't consistent. But I would say in general, if you have trouble staying consistent, and maybe I think the easiest way is like each day you wake up, you're raring to go. Today's going to be the day. And then by the end of the day, you're like, oh, I can't believe this happened, or I can't believe I did this. That's obviously not consistent. You're not following through. And I believe, and surely I'm biased, but like, accountability is a game changer for consistency. It will help you stay consistent. When you're accountable to someone else, an expert who's reviewing your day every single day, it's a game changer. And that is the best way to enable your consistency, because they're going to help you come up with a plan that's actually doable, that's actually sustainable, and they're going to see any opportunities for improvement or any things that are getting in the way of consistency. But what I was going to say also is a big part of consistency, what's going on between here, not these giant headphones, but what's going on between our ears, right? So when you change what's going on between your ears, when you change your mindset and psychology and habits, when you change your relationship with food, that's also a big part of staying consistent, right? Self-sabotage, fear of failure, fear of success, all or nothing thinking. There's a million things that get in the way, a million mental roadblocks as well that get in the way of consistency. And if you don't tackle them, if you don't conquer them, then they're going to keep getting in the way. And one of my mantras is, if you don't confront it, then if you don't confront it, then you'll never conquer it, right? I mean, eventually you have to confront it. You can't keep kicking it, down the road, because eventually you catch up to it. So anything that's getting in the way between your ears as well must be dealt with.
Right. Yeah. And I think too, we don't just offer that accountability piece, but we really work with clients on addressing the MPH, that mindset, psychology, and habits. And I think it's a unique way to address it, because certainly there are those people out there who can do it on their own, but they're locked up in here. So who are you really working with, But if you can get it out and share it with somebody and reflect with somebody and have an extra set of eyes and then loads of support to work through it, it just makes all the difference.
Yeah. So to review, right, we have eating until you're too full or eating too much. So focusing on the hunger scale, right? That's a big roadblock or a big stumbling block in terms of plateaus. Number two is logging your food. Again, it doesn't have to be, obsessing over calories or ounces or anything like that. Just logging your food, having a baseline, measuring what you manage. And then number three is just not being consistent, right? And we kind of did a little mini deep dive on what enables consistency and what gets in the way of consistency. But if you're not staying consistent, then you can't, that's a huge reason why people are stuck. So I challenge you to be consistent, do whatever it takes to be consistent. And then if you're consistent and you're still not seeing results, then that's something else. But I'm very confident that you will start seeing results.
Awesome. Well, Adam, thanks for unpacking that with us. And guys, we'll look forward to hearing about your trip beyond the plateau. See you next time. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked that video, check out the link for another great video right here.
And if you're having trouble staying consistent, if you feel like you know what to do but just can't seem to do it, I invite you to check out our coaching program. It's in the link below. We offer one-to-one accountability, coaching, support. I know you're going to love it, and let's go. Together we can make it happen.